you doing, Mr. John?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you. We're back in the herb garden, a garden that you helped to plant. So what do you think?
Well, I think it's doing wonderfully, and it's
think so as
great
well.
to be able to come back and see just what happened, because it's mostly really, really nice.
Oh, it is. It is. So now we're going to talk about, of course, herb care. So what do we need to look at?
All right, we are in the middle of summer. These were planted in spring.
Okay.
And so there are some things that need to be cut back. It's also a really stressful weather pattern, so I always feel funny about that. Now, here's dill. Dill is an annual. It's making its seeds. There's nothing to do with that except gather the seeds.
Okay.
Oregano, a member of the mint family, here, we could cut that back, and it gives me the willies to do this, but actually you can cut it to the ground and it will come back. As I say, I always...
It makes you cringe a little bit?
Yeah, I do. And then what do you do with this oregano that you've picked, that you've cut off? You strip it off the stem and you say, let it dry, or let it dry first on the stem, and then put it into jars and give it away as Christmas gifts.
Okay.
Or put it on your pizza in the middle of winter or something like that.
That sounds better.
Yeah. We have a parsley plant here. This is actually in its second year. There is nothing to do with this. It's already made flowers, ready to go to seed.
Okay.
Let's look at the mint, and I'm going to be careful with this one because it's flowering all over and there are many, many stinging insects.
Oh, wow.
And I really don't want to get into a discussion with them. They never say anything interesting. But especially before the flowers bloom, this can be cut back or it can be cut to the ground. Again, I cringe, but it can be done. When you cut back an herb, and I'll show this on the basil, cut it back to right above a leaf node.
Okay. And why do we want to do that, Mr. John? Right above the leaf
because
node?
that's where the plant's energy is.
Right.
And so it's got all that energy. Is that the meristem? I think?
Look at you.
And well, see, I studied.
Yeah, there you
And so it has energy, and it says, well, what am I going to do with this energy? I'm out in the air, so I'm going to make more leaves.
Gotcha.
Let me do this here on this basil. Here are the blooms that have started, and yeah, this one will be better.
So did the basil grow pretty well to you?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
this
it
is
looks like it's
beautiful.
good.
This is beautiful.
Okay.
I'm trying to find one that's easy to see. But if I cut back to just above where the leaves come out, right below this was another pair of leaves. Sometimes people say, oh, my basil is going to seed, and they cut it off right below the flowers. And it starts to go to seed again. And that's because what gives the signal to basil to go to seed is the number of pairs of leaves that it has made.
It's interesting.
And unfortunately, it's not the same for every variety. So it's not like you can say, oh, 8 leaves, I know that. No, it's just, it keeps you alert. But at any rate, now where I have cut that meristem that encourages the formation of new leaves. So that is something that we could do here. And apparently the bees haven't found yet this morning, haven't found the basil.
Yeah,
so it's probably a little safer to cut this back.
Okay.
And maybe in the process shape it a little bit.
So you're okay doing that, right? No cringing? You're fine?
No cringing.
Okay.
This one doesn't bother me a bit.
Doesn't bother me. Okay.
And then what do I do with all of this stuff?
Yeah, that's going to be my next question.
Okay, I knew that. What I do with all this stuff is I can dry it, I can grind it up in the blender with olive oil and essentially make pesto or make the beginnings of pesto. I don't recommend just freezing it plain. The leaves tend to turn black. And I don't know what the flavor is, but it doesn't look pleasant in any event.
Now, how long can we expect the basil to continue to grow?
The basil will continue to grow until frost,
Okay.
and then it gets zapped just immediately.
Okay, immediately, okay.
Well, and maybe it doesn't even have to be 32. I think you
Wow.
can just be approaching that.
Okay.
It's fairly delicate that way. Now, these plants are pretty thick together here, and maybe they're protecting one another.
Okay.
Sometimes I've seen basil, it hasn't frosted yet, but it's just not putting out any more leaves. It's just going one here, one there, and it kind of looks unhappy. But
So why do we need to cut back the flowers?
because that will encourage the plant to make more leaves. The flower is kind of the end stage of its growth, and if we want it to keep getting these nice flavorful things, we need to cut back the flowers.
Okay.
Now, we were talking about the parsley, and that is, parsley is a biennial. It makes flowers the second year, and when it does that, it makes fewer and fewer leaves, so it's not practical to keep it the second year. I always save at least one because the flowers are beautiful. They're a little bit past their prime at this point, these, but you can see, I mean, they're related to Queen Anne's lace and all of those familiar plants with compound flowers.
Right. In the carrot family.
And carrot family,
Right.
yes.
So as we're looking at the basil and some of the other herbs in the garden, so what do you think about fertilizing? Because I'm sure somebody's going to ask that question, or they're thinking about that question.
Well, what I have always heard from people who know is that herbs don't give as good flavor if they are heavily fertilized.
Okay.
And that's the standard line. However, I have also read from someone whom I respect that they'll do just fine. Now, I don't know about really heavy fertilization, but I don't think you need to be afraid to, put some compost on when,
Okay. So you would prefer the compost?
I would prefer the compost.
Okay. Got it.
All right. Well.
All right. Now we move it
on
over to the thyme.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm of two minds about cutting back thyme because I understand that you cut off the flowers, it helps it bloom, it helps it grow, it encourages it.
Okay.
On the other hand, the bees love it. And I can sit on my deck and look over at the herb garden, and I've got a border of thyme, and it almost vibrates from all the pollinating insects. It's a beautiful thing to see. But if I cut off those flowers, I'm not going to get to see that. So I can't do both. I don't know. It's so frustrating. But all of these, these are making flowers. Ideally, I think I would have done this earlier in the season, but this will come back.
So it'll come back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, herbs are very forgiving.
Now it looks a little dried in the center there. Is that okay? And we need to be concerned about that?
A couple of the other plants here look better from that standpoint.
Okay.
This is going to be okay. We have had extreme temperatures.
Okay, sure.
And some of my time at home looks like this, and some of it is happier.
Good.
Yeah, but see, a lot of that brown has green on the end.
It does.
So
right. It's
we
just
could
drier
cut it
down in the
back.
center.
Right.
Okay. Got it. All right, Mr. John. Well, we appreciate that. Thank you again for helping us to plant this herb garden.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
it was great fun. It's great fun to see it again.
It is. It is. So thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please click the subscribe button below.